Okay, guys, and we're back with another video. I'm Seth from the Lonely Stoner podcast, and today I'm joined with a very special guest, Andrew from Boxing Bros UK.
Oh,
Now, Boxing
bless you.
Bros are a great YouTube channel, and I've been fans of for a while, and there's no better time than now to talk about all the craziness that's going on in the world of boxing. So, Andrew, how are you,
Oh.
mate?
Yeah, bless you. Thanks for that introduction.
Of course.
Yeah, lovely to be on your channel. We've collaborated before, and yeah, this guy Seth knows his stuff. So if you haven't subscribed and all that stuff, all the usual stuff, click it. Takes 2 seconds, get it done. Yeah, all good. Lots of good and bad nonsense going on in boxing, as is always the case. Seth, I'm I'm
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll be getting into it.
So recently got announced, big news. Gervonta Davis is fighting Jake Paul. Of course, you got Gervonta Davis is an undefeated lightweight world champion who against Jake Paul, who is a cruiserweight slash heavyweight, who's been boxing influencers and old men for the most part. But yeah, what's your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, you're very diplomatic in your introduction there. You're being very professional. I respect that because it's to his. I'm not so much. I'm oh God, I'm trying to sort of trying to be positive in some way for this. I mean, it's what frustrates me in boxing. Look, I get it. I'm not silly in terms of a Netflix deal, in terms of the money, in terms of the casuals, in terms of the misfits generation, the crossover
Mm,
stuff. Jake Paul's fanboys, and
yeah,
let's not forget, as talented as Tank Davis is, he's what I call he's part of the TikTok generation of fighter. Jared Anderson out in America is a bit like that. Ryan Garcia,
yeah,
Tank Davis, they're all that. They've got that crossover appeal.
yeah,
Leave a little bit to be desired in terms of their professionalism and all the rest of it. Talent undeniable.
yeah,
Um, and so I get it. I get it. It has mass appeal. It's an exhibition, isn't it?
yeah,
I gather. And then we had the old AJ debacle going through, which I never thought that fight was going to happen. To be honest, I thought that was just clout making. Look, I think the first point of contention with this is that I mean Tank Davis is probably what is he 135 pounds soaking wet. I mean
yeah,
bloody hell, I mean, he's not one of these guys that can kind of put on when he puts on weight. Like with Crawford, you think he can put on a bit of muscle mass, right?
yeah,
But Tank Davis just seems to put on junk when he goes up the weight, and
yeah,
I don't really. I'm trying to sort of be slightly diplomatic on this, but
mm,
I find it a bit of a complete shit show, really. I mean, I have no interest in watching it. I've got no interest in watching it whatsoever. I want to see Jake Paul actually have a fight where there's some adversity. I
yeah,
want to say, what's Tank going to do in there? He's just so much smaller. Yeah, he's a much better boxer. It's an exhibition. Is it going to be scripted? Anyway, I've chucked loads of stuff at you there, Seb, so I'll let you come back in. It's a mess for me, as you can tell with my thought
yeah.
processes.
No, it definitely completely agree. It's an absolute mess. And I know you said you probably thought that the AJ fight was never going to happen. I thought an AJ fight would be more likely than a fight against Gervonta Davis, fighting a lightweight 135 pounder who's not even big for 135 pounds. He's 5'5", right? And I'm thinking,
Yeah,
even if he puts on weight, how much is he going to put on? What could he really realistically get to? 150, 155 at 5'5". It's not it's not a good look. Um, Jake Paul's gonna be so
what
much
weight
bigger
are
than.
they going to be coming in at? Because with exhibitions, it's a lot more lenient, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah,
what is going to be the kind of? Are they both coming in at whatever weight? What's the weight situation? Do you know?
I don't think it's been confirmed. It's just been announced that it's an exhibition. I don't think either guy has confirmed which weight it will be at. I imagine because it's an
Yeah,
exhibition, they'll sort of weigh in at whatever they want.
yeah.
But
That's what I was assuming. Yeah,
no doubt there'll be sort of a gentleman's agreement that nobody will get knocked out here. It'll just probably be like a
mm,
sparring, like how the Tyson fight was. To be fair, it'll probably be similar to that.
yeah.
But safe to say, in my opinion, with that, Gervonta Davis' boxing career is done. He'll have that fight and he'll retire. And
It must be though,
yeah,
mustn't it? That's actually a really pertinent point you've
yeah,
made, and it didn't even cross my mind till you brought it up. That Lamont Roach draw. and
Yeah.
whatever went on there must have that must have been the beginning of the end. Because if you're cashing out, because that's what if you're doing this
Yeah.
when you're the WBA lightweight you've got all those fights. You want to create a legacy. Well, clearly he doesn't.
No,
You're
he
still
doesn't
what
know.
27, 28.
31 he
What
is.
what what is he?
31,
31.
yeah.
He's actually a lot older than what.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 31. Right. Yeah. So I think
Especially
no,
at
Jared
those
Anderson.
especially at those weight
But
classes as well. You know, at heavyweight, you
yeah,
can be 30, 31, 32, 33. But at those weight classes especially, once you're past 30, it's limited. It's, you're on the
yeah,
back end
we
of your
spoke
career.
about this for you. Yeah, outside of cruise and heavy, you're right.
Yeah.
Actually, we've seen this with Josh Taylor recently as well.
Yes.
But because if you look at his notable wins, I mean, we're looking at sort of Pitbull Cruz
Yep.
and a completely dry as a bone, dead at the weight Ryan Garcia.
Yep.
Is that what we're talking?
Yep.
And I thought the Pitbull Cruz he went life and death with anyway. Then, ducked Lomachenko, I
Yep.
think it's probably fair to say. Who else did you have in around there? Cam Bossas Jr.,
Yep.
Teofimo Lopez, right
Yep.
in and around, because they'll jump up and down in weight. They're
Yes.
also tiny at that weight. They'll jump up and down in weights.
Yeah.
You got Boots Ennis, obviously a little bit higher up in weight,
Yeah.
but yeah. Well, that's what we're talking. When we look back on his legacy, if I'm being really cynical with Tank,
Mm.
how good actually was he? Because he was meant to be this generation, because if you look at his signature wins, it's like you can pick them apart anyway.
You can 100%. His resume is razor thin, in my opinion. Like I said, Pitbull Cruz, uh, bone dry Ryan Garcia, bone dry Rolly Romero. Both guys who, in my opinion, aren't that good
Yeah.
anyway. But wins on his resume. I know there was
Frank
a
Martin, was it Frank Martin? That
Frank
was,
Martin, but he was another one. He just all hype, really. I mean, Frank Martin, to be fair, was
like,
undefeated. He did show something in his previous fights, but in terms of him being a world level operator and the other guys level at lightweight, in terms of your Lomachenko's, your Devin Haney's at the time, your Teofimo Lopez's, your Shakur Stevenson's now, they're just nowhere near the level. And Gervonta Davis' career is almost like a perfect case study on how to cherry pick your opponents and build a career by fighting the least challenging opponents you can, right? Because Gervonta Davis was a multi-weight world champion, undefeated. You say all these things, you think, well, this guy must have been cleaning out the divisions. No, he's sort of done the Adrian Broner approach and sort of cherry-picked his fights on the way up. Unlike
yeah,
Adrian Broner, Gervonta Davis isn't
vacant titles.
vacant titles. Unlike Adrian Broner, Gervonta Davis isn't sticking around for too long, right? He's got to this point. He's undefeated world champion.
True.
He's gonna cash out against Jake Paul, and that's gonna be it. And to be honest, we
Yeah,
saw this. Floyd would do this a lot, right? When there would be someone they wanted him to fight, or it'd be someone that gave him a tough fight. You want to rematch him or fight this guy, he'll retire. And there was talks about Gervonta Davis doing this, where he was saying after the Lamont Roach fight, he's retired, right? Floyd done the same thing. We want you to rematch De La Hoya, he'll retire for a year. You want to rematch Maidana, retire. You want to fight Pacquiao in his prime, I'll retire. And then he'll be gone for 12 months, 18 months. In that time, you would have forgotten, moved on, and then he can fight someone else that's more winnable. Gervonta Davis is doing this with Lamont Roach. Floyd done it throughout his career. Gervonta Davis is doing it probably at the end of his career, and this will be it for Gervonta Davis. But there was an interview where he said, a lot of people get into boxing because they want to become a world champion, but he got into boxing because his personal life situation, he was dead broke. He was, a broke kid from the ghettos in Baltimore, I think, or Philly, one of those places, and he needed to make money through boxing and get out of that life, and that's what he's done. To be fair, so there's a part of me that almost doesn't blame him, but it's almost like that thing in football where you're like a guy who's 100 grand per week footballer in the Premier League goes to Dubai or Saudi to get 500k a week, and you're like, it's life changing money. You want 100 grand a week. You're already on life changing money. You're already rich.
yeah,
You and your kids and your grandkids already didn't need to work. So why are you really going, right? So
yeah, yeah.
those are the sort of questions that have to be asked. But like I said, for the most part, no doubt in my mind, this will be a glorified sparring session against Jake Paul. Like how we saw against Mike Tyson, nobody will go for the kill. It'll just be sparring, and that'll be that. Both guys will get huge paydays, and Jake Paul will go back to doing what Jake Paul does, and he'll probably fight. I don't know who will fight next. Maybe someone at the cruiserweight rankings because he's ranked there now. I wouldn't have thought so because again, he wants to cherry pick as well. He only wants easy fights or fights that can make him gigantic amounts of money. or maybe even a Tommy
Oh.
Fury rematch. I don't know. There's a number of routes that Jake Paul can go down, but it's definitely the end of Gervonta Davis's career. For WBA, I actually made a video about this. I mean, who should fight for the WBA title? Because they should definitely be stripping Gervonta Davis of the championship.
Oh,
100% be stripping him.
absolutely.
Because if you're a lightweight fighting a cruiserweight, you've got no interest in defending your lightweight championship. So they'll strip him. It doesn't feel right for anyone other than Lamont Roach to be fighting for that belt because he drew with the champion. In the same
Yeah,
breath, Lamont Roach is actually from the weight class below. He's not a career
yeah,
lightweight. He's a career 130 pounder, not
yeah.
135. But he drew with a champion, so it does make sense for him to fight for the vacant championship. And then the number one ranked at WBA is Floyd Schofield. So a Lamont Roach v Floyd
Yes,
Schofield fight for the
Alan.
WBA world title would be a great fight and would be a lot more entertaining than Jake Paul v Gervonta Davis. That's for sure.
Well, definitely for us boxing purists, that's for sure.
Yes.
But you know how they're going to market and sell this fight, and they,
Yeah.
you know how the press conferences are going to be built, and they're going to be, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and
Yeah.
it's a circus.
Yeah.
If you understand what it is, it doesn't excite me. I've no interest in watching it. I'll probably see the result and whatever it'll be.
Yeah.
Just yeah, but it is an interesting topic because this is where we're at with boxing, and
Yeah.
we've got Turkey Al Sheikh putting on these mega fights across the globe now,
Mm.
and we've got these crossover fights with social media stars, that are very famous. That does bring new eyes to the world of boxing. And my one positive with this is that it brings potentially millions of new eyes to the sport that I and you love. So that's the one takeaway from it. It markets the sport well in
Yeah.
that regard.
No, definitely. And even in some of these Jake Paul cards, I'm sure like Tevin Farmer, it might have been Floyd Schofield v Tevin Farmer was on an undercard of a Jake Paul fight. And so you're
Mm.
getting,
Yeah, the
world level
undercards are
guys.
good on it.
Yeah. And that's a
Yeah,
platform
that's
for
true.
those guys as well. So it's not all bad, but because there are some silver linings, like you said, you're giving the platform to other guys as well on the undercard. But yeah, it's not amazing for the sport in terms of having high level competitive fights because there'll be, you know, a world championship fight at cruiserweight with Jaya Pataya or Zerda against Zerda Ramirez, which to us would be a huge fight, but won't get anywhere near the fanfare of a Jake Paul v Gervonta Davis. But
No, it's a shame, isn't it? It's a
yeah,
shame. And look, let's be honest. If we do tune in to Jake Paul fights, it's because we want to see him sparkled all over the canvas, don't we? That's
yeah,
why we're watching it. But
yeah,
it's just probably not going to happen because it's just so heavily. His career is a movie. It's just everything is just so rehearsed
yeah,
and structured. You can see it.
yeah.
So,
You can.
and the only time maybe it wasn't so much was Tommy Fury,
Yeah,
who's no great shakes as a boxer,
not at all.
and he lost. So it kind of gives you an idea of the level he's at, really.
It does, and Tommy Fury is a guy who, as far as I know, never even fought at British level at cruiserweight. And cruiserweight's not a division or weight class that's historically known for being particularly stacked at all, right? But that
No,
being said,
but yeah,
in my opinion, from the time when both of those two fought, I think Jake Paul has improved more than Tommy Fury has improved from that point when they fought. And if they were to rematch, I almost would favour a Jake Paul win more than I would favour Tommy Fury. Maybe
I
like,
think he'd let his hands go more, Jake Paul. Yeah,
yeah,
he would.
yeah,
Yeah, but it'd be nice to see him fight. Like that's the conclusion of this, isn't it?
yeah,
You'd like to see him fight, not somebody who's an ex MMA fighter or an ex boxer like Chavez Jr.
yeah,
The drug cartel, fucking, Donny, who's washed up,
yeah.
wasn't any great shape when he was a pro boxer.
No,
You want to see him not fight washed up ex combat sports people in any field that are well over the hill,
yeah,
or people that are about 100 weight classes below you. Because the thing is about the people go, oh, well, yeah, but it's range is important in boxing.
yeah,
Gervonta Davis, Jake Paul's what, 6'1", 6'2"?
yeah,
As Tank Davis, yeah, he's got a much higher skill set, but he hasn't got the reach Jake Paul's got. He's got nowhere near the size. He's not going to be able to put a dent in him. To me, it's a bit of a joke fight, to be honest,
yeah.
because there's no adversity there really for
No,
Jake Paul, I don't think whatsoever. I think people think because of the name Tank Day, yeah, but people don't understand like the way me and you do.
Yeah,
We have weight classes, and height is a big thing in boxing.
yeah,
And Jake Paul just keep him on the end of his jab,
yeah,
and just tie him up when he comes in because he's bigger and stronger.
yeah,
It's just a bit of a joke,
yeah.
really.
And you've got Gervonta Davis, who you know is known for not being a high volume puncher anyway. So
No,
a lot of
but he pop
Gervonta,
shot, didn't he? I
yeah,
call him the pop shotter.
yeah, that's what he is. So you think he's going to try and pot shot a guy who's what 8 inches taller than him, got about 50 pounds on it? It's not going to work.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
also
We can
that's
all do that with a guy on the street, can't we? Yeah, come
exactly.
on. Oh, do you know what I mean?
But that's not going to be the aim though. That's the thing. It's not. They're not aiming for a competitive fight. They're aiming for an exhibition that will be a glorified sparring
Massive
fight for
numbers.
12 rounds.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, like you said, that's the state of boxing. We'll see. We'll stay tuned. Like I said, I'll probably be making some videos around it nearer the time. But what can we do? Like I said, it's the state of boxing, and the only good thing about it is the only silver lining we can see is the undercard will give a spotlight to lesser known fighters that can hopefully use that platform, put on a great
Yeah.
performance, and then go on to headline their own shows. Hopefully,
And I think Jake Paul's MVP promotions that supports, he does a lot of female undercards
yeah,
promoting female fighters, which I think is good,
yeah,
creating, a bit of diversity and a bit of putting some of the female fighters on the map, which is good for the sport. Again, brings more eyes, maybe young girls that want to get into the sport. I think that's
yeah,
good. Puts on good undercards and is a good promotional team. So I'll there you go.
yeah.
I've given two positives from this, so
There you
I've done
go.
my best here, folks.
Okay, so can I get a prediction for this fight?
Yeah, I'll for me, I know a lot of people are going to go with Tank Davis because of his name and his skill set, but I think because again being cynical, I do think it'll be heavily scripted. It is an
Yeah,
exhibition, probably likely going to come in at whatever weight they want.
yeah,
I think the size, the reach. I think every time Tank Davis does kind of close the gap and maybe try and throw shots over the top,
mm,
I just think Paul's going to try and sort of tie him up. If he does catch him, I don't think because of the size disparity, it's going to really put a dent in Jake Paul. So I see a little bit of a Jake Paul 12 rounds, however many rounds it's going to be shut
yeah,
out. So I'm going with a Jake Paul points win to carry on the narrative and movie script that is
mm,
Jake Paul.
yeah. Fair enough. It's hard to disagree, honestly, because like you said, that Jake Paul is going to have so much size, and also because it's an exhibition, I don't see Tank, going in there full pelt, trying to close the distance, rip shots, and really do some damage
I'd
to
love to
Jake
see
Paul. I would love to see it too. Completely
it.
agree. And if he does do that, then maybe he's got more of a chance than maybe we're giving him because I don't know. Jake Paul's knocked out bigger guys. He's felt punches from bigger guys, but yeah, it's hard to go against Jake Paul for this. Over 12
Yeah,
rounds as well. He'll just h- tie up Tank, probably weigh on him, slow him down a bit, make that size really count. And I could see a 12-round decision there too. So early predictions for Jake Paul v Tank Davis, but I'm sure we'll be making some more videos nearer the time too.
absolutely. Absolutely.